Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be filming 3 macro-friendly recipes for chocolate lovers. And by macro-friendly, I mean higher in protein and lower in calories than the traditional dessert. The 3 recipes that we're going to be making are brownie batter baked oats, chocolate cake for one, and chocolate donuts. I know, sounds delicious, right? I'm really excited to get started, and if you're excited too, then be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and share it with your friends. It would mean the world to me. Now let's get started with the first recipe, brownie batter baked oats. The first thing we're gonna do is preheat the oven to 400 Fahrenheit. So here are all the ingredients that you're gonna need. Don't you worry, I'm gonna put the list of the ingredients as well as the measurements on the screen as well as in the description below. So for the dry ingredients, you're gonna need baking powder, oat flour, or you can just use regular quick oats and like grind them up into flour, but I don't have a blender. PE Science chocolate protein powder. So this is a whey and casein blend. It bakes really well, and then you can use my code FIT15 for 15% off. I have tried this recipe with just whey protein powder and it works perfectly fine. You can also use vanilla protein powder as well. If you don't have chocolate, it'll still turn out chocolatey because of the cocoa powder. And speaking of cocoa powder, we have cocoa powder, and then you can use any sweetener of your choice. So I chose Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. You can use code FIT15 for 15% off. You can also use like swerve or stevia, whatever you have. Oreo baking crumbs. I would say these are more of an optional ingredient. I just think they add more texture and I just like them in. Mini chocolate chips. And then for the wet ingredients, we have unsweetened almond milk. Of course, you can use any plant-based milk, or even regular milk. I haven't tried it with regular milk, but I'm sure it would work. And then we have non-fat Greek yogurt. So first we're gonna start off with the dry ingredients. Oat flour, protein powder, unsweetened cocoa powder, sweetener, and baking powder. Then you're gonna mix the dry ingredients. Then you're gonna add the wet ingredients, unsweetened almond milk, and the non-fat Greek yogurt. Then you're gonna mix those together. Then you're gonna add the mini chocolate chips. So I like to mix half of them in and then add the rest on top. Then you're gonna take a mini cast iron skillet. So this one is 6.5 inches. You can find it on Amazon. I actually have a link to my Amazon store in my bio. If you use those links, then I will get commission off the purchases. So you're gonna spray this with cooking spray. Spray the table too while you're at it. And then you're gonna pour in the batter. Then you're gonna spread out the batter with the back of a wet spoon. Then you're gonna add the rest of the chocolate chips on top. I just wanna try and sprinkle them out evenly. I'll probably fail at that though. And then we're gonna add the Oreo baking crumbs. Now we're gonna put this into the oven. So now it's gonna bake for 15 minutes. And then you're done. Here is the finished product. It looks so good. Look at that. So we'll do a taste test. I've had this before a million times. It's one of my favorite recipes, but whoops. We'll do a taste test either way. So what I will say is depending on your oven, you might need to put it in for more or less time. For example, this oven, I guess was a bit more powerful than the previous one I used. So baking it at 400 Fahrenheit for 15 minutes made it into more of a cakey texture, which is totally fine. But if you like it to be a bit more gooey or like underbaked versus cakey, then you might want to put it in for 13 minutes. So next we're going to be making the chocolate cake for one. So for this recipe, you're going to need to make the chocolate cake and then the frosting. So it takes a bit longer, but I promise it's worth it. So here are the ingredients you're going to need. Again, I'm going to put the list of them on the screen as well as in the description. So for the dry ingredients, you'll need PE Science chocolate protein powder. Again, this is a whey casein blend. I have tried making this with a whey blend and it turns out fine, but I would highly recommend PE Science. You can use code FIT15 to save 15%. Unsweetened cocoa powder, all-purpose flour, coconut flour, chocolate pudding mix. This makes it a bit more like gooey. You don't necessarily need this, like you can omit it and just add more protein powder, because I know in some countries they don't have it available. Baking powder, mini chocolate chips, and then you're gonna need sweetener. So I chose Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. You can use code FIT15 to save 15%. Of course, you can use like stevia or swerve as well. Then this is Lakanto powdered sugar. Again, Lakanto is a great brand, but if you don't have that available, you can also use Swerve's powdered sugar. I think those are the only two brands that make 0-calorie powdered sugar. I could be wrong though. And you can also use regular powdered sugar or regular sugar, of course. And then for the wet ingredients, we've got egg whites, vanilla extract, unsweetened applesauce, and non-fat Greek yogurt. So first thing we're gonna do is preheat the oven to 350 Fahrenheit. So first you're gonna add the dry ingredients. Protein powder, all-purpose flour, unsweetened cocoa powder, sugar-free chocolate pudding mix, baking powder, monk fruit sweetener, coconut flour. Now time for the wet ingredients. Non-fat Greek yogurt. Guys, I just realized that I forgot to stir the dry ingredients. Normally you would do that. Please do that before adding the wet ingredients. Unsweetened applesauce, egg whites, and vanilla extract. Mix it all together. Now you're gonna take this 4.5-inch mini spring-form pan. It can be found in my Amazon store. Link is in the bio. I get commission if you make purchases. So you're gonna spray that with cooking spray. Then you're gonna pour in the batter. Use the back of a wet spoon to spread it out. Then you're gonna put it into the oven and bake it for around 18 to 22 minutes. Now while the cake is baking, we're gonna make the frosting. So add your protein powder, monk fruit sweetener, Lakanto powdered sugar, cocoa powder, and the chocolate pudding mix. Then you're gonna mix the dry ingredients together. Then you're gonna add the non-fat Greek yogurt, add a tablespoon of cold water, and then you're gonna mix. So here it is when mixed. I ended up adding an extra tablespoon of cold water. So it ended up being 2 tablespoons of cold water. Depends on which brand you use. Sometimes you have to add more or less water. So I'd recommend just adding a bit and then adding more as you go. So now you're gonna put this in the fridge while the cake finishes baking. Just took the cake out of the oven. Now this is a super important step, guys. You have to make sure it's cooled completely before you frost it. So first, guys, we have our cake that's cooled completely. I took it out of the springform pan. And then we have the frosting, which I've kept in the fridge while we let the cake cool. I have the spoon and the fork to frost. And then I have the mini chocolate chips that we're gonna add as a topping. So let's get started frosting. Honestly, I'm no Betty Crocker, I'm just Fit Food AE. So, I'm not amazing at this, but we're gonna try our very best. Probably gonna speed this clip up because you guys don't need to see me struggle. And we're all done frosting. Now we're just gonna add the chocolate chips on top. Look at that. She is beauty, she is grace. time for a taste test. I've had this before, so I know what it tastes like, but I'm gonna eat it anyway. This honestly never gets old. Like, I've made it several times. I don't make it all the time just because it takes several steps. You know, obviously, it's not going to taste like the real thing, like what you'd get at a wedding or buttercream frosting full fat or whatever, but it tastes so good for the macros that it has. By the way, all the macros for all the recipes are going to be posted on the screen as well as in the description below. And finally, we're going to be making the chocolate protein donuts. So here are all the ingredients you need. Notice that all 3 recipes kind of use similar ingredients just to make it easier on you guys and make it easier on your wallet too when you go grocery shopping. So for the dry ingredients, you're gonna need all-purpose flour, PE Science chocolate protein powder. Again, I've made this recipe with whey and it turned out fine, but highly recommend PE Science Whey Casein Blend. You can use code FIT15 for 15% off. Guys, I keep repeating that throughout each recipe just in case people, you know, skip from one recipe to the other and, you know, just need to know that information. And then we have Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. Again, code FIT15 for 15% off, but you can use Swerve or stevia or any other 0-calorie sweetener. Then we have Lakanto powdered sugar. So this is used for the glaze. The glaze is optional, but I really like it. I think it makes them sweeter. And then we have salt, because you add like a pinch of salt. Again, this is honestly optional, but I'm sure everyone has salt lying around. Baking powder, unsweetened cocoa powder. And then for the wet ingredients, we have unsweetened applesauce, vanilla extract, non-fat Greek yogurt, and unsweetened almond milk. Again, you can use any plant-based milk. So first thing we're gonna do is preheat the oven to 350 Fahrenheit. So first you're gonna add the dry ingredients, all-purpose flour, protein powder, unsweetened cocoa powder, baking powder, a pinch of salt, monk fruit sweetener. Then you're gonna mix the dry ingredients, unsweetened applesauce, non-fat Greek yogurt, unsweetened almond milk, and vanilla extract. And now we're gonna mix. Yeah, so obviously put it in a bigger bowl. This was pretty tough, but I was too lazy to wash the other bowl again, so I used this one. Sorry about the mess. So the batter is supposed to be pretty thick. If you find it's too thick to stir, then you can just add like a couple tablespoons of water. Next, you're gonna take a silicone donut mold. You can find these on my Amazon store. Link is in my bio. I got commission if you make a purchase. And then you're gonna spray it with cooking spray. And then you're gonna pour in the batter. Now I know this looks really messy, but I'm gonna fix everything and even it out later. And here it is all smoothed out. Sorry for the mess. It's okay if like some of the batter is on the sides and everything. And now you're gonna bake this for between 12 to 15 minutes. Then to make the glaze, you're just gonna mix 25 grams of Lakanto powdered sugar or Swerve, whatever you have, with a tiny bit of water. Now we're gonna let them cool just a bit. Then I'm gonna add the glaze. And here is the finished product. Don't they kind of look like the Tim Hortons glazed donuts? They look so good. Oh my god. The final taste test. Guys, I'm exhausted. So good, as usual. I haven't made this flavor of donuts in a while because I like to experiment and make tons of different flavors, but this one is the OG. So good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video with all my recipes, and I hope that you make plans to make at least one of them this week. If you do make them, let me know how they are in the comments. And if you think this video will be helpful to someone who's on a fitness journey, please share it with your friends, give it a like, comment, subscribe, All of that would mean the world to me. Now, I have a bunch of cleaning to do, so I'm gonna go, but I will see you guys next week.